Asylums, the very word sends shivers down our spine. We hear of their existence in ages past, where people with psychological disorders were sent to institutions where they would never leave. But have you ever wondered, where did these insane asylums come from? How did they treat the patients? And what was life like in an asylum? Let's find out in today's video. The first insane asylum came into existence in Baghdad during the 8th century. It was called the House of the Moon, and it was a place where people suffering from mental illness could be isolated from society. However, this institution wasn't anything like the ones that followed. In fact, it was much more humane. But then again, the concept of mental illness wasn't really understood back then. People suffering from it were often seen as being possessed by demons or evil spirits. So instead of providing them with treatment, they were subjected to exorcism. But the House of the Moon provided food, clothing, and shelter to those who had nowhere else to go. The first purpose-built psychiatric hospital was inaugurated in 1247 in the Iranian city of Ray. This facility was designed specifically for the care of those with mental illness, and it was run by Muslim physicians who used a variety of methods to treat their patients. These included music therapy, occupational therapy, and even electroconvulsive therapy. The next one we'll discuss is Bedlam, which was a hospital in London that opened its doors in 1246. It was originally meant to be a prison for the criminally insane. However, due to overcrowding, it soon became a general psychiatric hospital. It was here that patients were treated in the most inhumane manner. They were subjected to experimental procedures such as hydrotherapy, insulin shock therapy, and lobotomy. There was also a fee to be paid for witnessing the spectacle of the patients in their various stages of madness. Yes, people actually paid money to come and watch the mentally ill suffer. Bedlam was infamous for its appalling conditions, and it was until the 19th century that it was finally closed down. Now let's talk about the York Retreat. This was established in 1796. And it was here that a new approach to the treatment of mental illness was pioneered. This was called the moral treatment. This method was based on the belief that mental illness was not caused by demonic possession but rather by psychological and social factors. Patients were treated with kindness and respect, and were encouraged to participate in activities that would help them to reintegrate into society. Though this approach was much more humane, there were still some drawbacks. For example, patients were often segregated from society for long periods of time, and many of them never really recovered. It was only until the 20th century that the concept of mental illness began to be more widely understood. The first antipsychotic medication was developed in the 1950s, and this led to a huge improvement in the quality of life for many people suffering from mental illness. Today, there is a greater awareness of mental health issues, and more people than ever are seeking help for the problems they face. While there is still much progress to be made, the York Retreat and other institutions that followed paved the way for a more humane and effective treatment of mental illness. Today's asylums are more commonly referred to as mental hospitals. Here, medication is used, much like a straitjacket, to keep the unruly patient under control. There are, of course, exceptions where medication is necessary, and there are some patients who cannot take medication due to the nature of their illness. In such cases, they are kept under observation, and in some cases restraints may be used. It is important to note that psychology is a relatively new field, and many of the practices that were once considered standard treatment are now viewed as being inhumane or even torture. Some of the more disturbing methods that were used to treat mental illness include hydrotherapy, insulin shock therapy, and lobotomy. Hydrotherapy involved the use of water to control and subdue patients. Insulin shock therapy consisted of inducing a hypoglycemic state in order to produce a convulsive reaction. Lobotomies, on the other hand, were performed to sever the connections between the frontal lobe and the rest of the brain. While these practices are no longer used, they serve as a reminder of how far we have come in our understanding and treatment of mental illness. Today, many of the same therapies that were pioneered at the York Retreat are still in use. Talk therapy, for example, has proven to be an effective treatment for a variety of mental health issues, and occupational therapy continues to help patients to develop the skills they need to live independent lives. Your host is the renowned Dr. Stephen F. Myler, who has been treating mental health clients globally for over 40 years. So there you have it, a brief history of Asylums. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching.